Center for Spiritual Living, where we share universal good through love. And I have a candle here that I'm going to light that has 2 wicks. And the first wick represents spirit or God. And you can see that there's a light. And then when I light the second wick, it makes an even bigger light. And it just shows that when we come together, we share even more light, and spirit is with us always. Okay, so John, you want to lead us in a opening song?
All right. Oop. Joy is wonderful. Joy in the morning, joy in the afternoon, joy in the evening, joy again soon. When we are happy, joy is how. Joy is wonderful, joy is now. Joy in our homes, joy in our work, joy in relationships, joy at our birth. When we are happy, joy is how. Joy is wonderful, joy is now. Joy in accomplishment, joy in getting done, joy in doing well, joy in having fun. When we are happy, joy is how. Joy is wonderful, joy is now. Joy is now.
All right, thank you, John Miller. Thank you for that opening song. Today, our special guest speaker is going to be Carol Ann Drick. And I know that she's got a lot of things to talk about between Lent and Valentine's Day and just in general. So she's going to have some good stuff here. So, all right. John, you want to go ahead and start a meditation for us now?
All right. I wanted to grab my phone and buzz, send a text over to wake up Michelle. All right, here we go.
Oh, Michael, you like Carolyn, and that's good.
I wonder what happened to my meditation song. Oh, well. No, I don't even have the other. Oh, we'll forget the harmonica then.
It's my favorite song, so it's okay. Or one of my favorites, anyway.
John, you're sounding just a little distorted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I don't know what I can do about it.
maybe back your microphone up a little bit. There you go.
Peace is now. Peace is here. Peace is everywhere. Of peace beyond all we know. Peace is going on and on everywhere we go. Joy is now, joy is here, joy is everywhere, floating in a sea of joy, beyond all we know. Joy is growing on and on everywhere we go. Is here. Love is now. Love is everywhere. Floating in a sea of love, beyond all we know. Love is growing on and on everywhere we go.
As we recognize peace, love, joy, beauty, light, power and wisdom, abundance, wholeness, completeness, all of the magnificence that spirit that is in us, through us, and has us. We just recognize that and allow our mind just continue to float, feel that. Allowing spirit coming forward to our service, each and every person, and to be recognized in the world. For as we become more and more like spirit, we were made in an image and likeness of spirit. Then you can do everything that your spirit can do. Just sounds so much. We have all the same possibilities. And then when we actually team up with spirit, recognize spirit for what spirit is, then we really flow into that love, peace, joy, beauty, power, light, wholeness, perfection. So we are unified as one with all the spirit. I now speak them for our service. Become it with your spiritual gifts. So this is a wonderful time to be here. Opportunity to grow within. And as Caroline speaks today, like this her words are spiritual. That spirit is behind each and every word. And it touches us through those words in a very special. I know for John, for the music touches. For Hannah doing the Facebook feed, for Kyle doing the Micah doing the myself doing the. And for those who see us online now at a different, just know for each and every person that love is now, peace is there, joy is there, I give thanks. I give thanks for all of them. For the good that is happening for each individually, for things happening in the world for a betterment of the world. That it gets, its spirit is able to shine through and to be felt in a very special. The spirit really is all we have to do is recognize it. And hopefully each individual starts recognizing it. So for that I thank you. And as I give thanks one more time, we just now release them. And I know that it is being answered here in a very special. And so I let it be. Amen. Okay, so we lost the music, John. I can't quite hear you. So if you would like to take a moment to open your eyes and just look at each other's eyes in the camera and see spirits, the spirit that is you. It's there in you and as you, but also that magnificent person that you're looking at. So I never realized just how blue Kyle's eyes are. Wow, they're really blue today. So okay. All right. Well, thank you. And John, I appreciate it. At least I waited to the last part of the song to whatever happened there.
My microphone just cut out.
Yeah, it just cut
It
out.
said your microphone is no longer working. Every week it's something.
But it worked at it went cut out at a good time. So that's
Okay.
and you know that is my favorite meditation song that you do. Because the second you two notes and I'm there. On that one. So, okay, well, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Carol Ann Drick for her. Okay, what am I doing wrong? I'm sorry, Mike. Okay, this came in. What are you not hearing?
No, you're fine.
Okay,
Keep
all right.
talking.
So, anyways, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Carol Ann Drick, our very special speaker today. And anyways, I'm turning it all over to you, Carol Ann. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the topic I chose today was Lent and all that jazz. Little did I know when, I asked Spirit, what was this going to be called? And that's what I got. And I thought, well, I don't know about that, but we'll go with it. And oh, look at this week. This is an incredible week. And in the center of it is the beginning of Lent, Ash Wednesday. Today, two big things going on. First of all, of course, is the Super Bowl at 6:30 this evening. And those of you that don't like football, at least stay on for part of it and watch the advertisements. They are supposed to be the very best advertisements that you will ever see. I mean, they spend millions of dollars on them. And then the second thing, I woke up this morning and discovered this is the Chinese New Year. The Chinese go on a lunar calendar, which of course is 28 days. So their calendar is different from ours. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, incredible day, a lot of really nice things going on. In the centerpiece in between, the centerpiece of it for me is being here at Summit Spiritual. And then on Wednesday, we have two things going on. We have Valentine's Day. It's the love day of the year. And we also have the beginning of Lent. And I thought, when I first thought about that, it was like, oh, that's interesting. Then I realized, wow, Lent is all about penance. And it is even deeper than that. It's about the love, for God so loved the world. And so I'm thinking, oh, every day is going to be more and more incredible this week. And I think that's a very important part of the beginning of Lent, but also how we live our life. And that is living our life in each moment, because we get to choose. We get to choose every single moment what we're going to do. I rolled over, excuse me, this morning, and I could choose. I could choose to get up, or I could choose to stay in bed a little bit longer. I chose to get up. I went to the bathroom and I got to choose. Do I want to brush my teeth, or do I want to do it later? And we just choose. And we do not realize, because we are so used to moving through our day, we don't necessarily realize all the choices, and we can change them at any time. That's what makes it so incredible. And one of the things this past week to me that was leading up very much to this time of choosing, of penance, of really looking deeper inside, one of the things that happened is my daughter, older daughter, which many of you know, had an intestinal resection. She called me, and it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and she's slowly been coming along. She called me Thursday evening about 8:30, 8:45, and said, "Mom, I'm feeling real good today. Would you like to go on a border run with me?" Now, this is a family instituted thing. Not quite sure how it got started, but calling one of us in the evening around 8:30 and saying, "Hey, let's go down to Dairy Queen and get a blizzard. We'll get a blizzard," and just kind of laugh and giggle that we're, just taking 20 minutes to go out and do this and spend the time together. We haven't done them. I would say we stopped doing them maybe 2 years ago for whatever reason. And I said, "Oh, I'm in. I'm in." She said, "I'll pick you up. My treat." I mean, how much better can it get? You're going to get a mini blizzard, which I hardly ever eat, and I get a free ride in the car, and I also get to spend time with my daughter. It was just absolutely incredible. I got to choose. And so it leads us to the question. And I think the question is very instrumental for my talk today. Is it possible to live in this moment without the fears of the past or the concerns about the future? And so as we move into towards Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, my question is it possible that I can find the right things and make the right choices as I begin to move into Lent that are going to assist me in becoming a better person? So Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. It's also the beginning of Lent, and it is a 40 days of traditionally fasting, praying, and reflection in preparation for the resurrection of Jesus. It's 40 days. Now, when I first started to look at Ash Wednesday, I just out of curiosity, I thought, yeah, is there anything in the Bible that talks about this? So I went to actually two different versions of the Bible, and there was nothing in it, which I was not surprised. And I also went into Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind and to see if there was any mention of it there. And there wasn't anything there. That does not mean it's not important. It's just meaning that it wasn't added to either one of them. And it's rather interesting because they don't have a kind of an exact time frame for when this began, but it was begun by the church. And many of the elements of Ash Wednesday they date back to 2000 AD, to the 2nd century after the death of Jesus. And the intent around Lent, although the form has changed, the intent around it still remains the same. And in my reading, I really felt that it was based upon Jesus fasting for 40 days and 40 nights in the desert to prepare him for his public ministry. So it was a fasting time for him. And in the early church, novices who were preparing to enter whatever order they were in used that 40 days before Easter to fast and pray to make sure they were worthy of taking their final vows. So that was 2000 AD. Let's move up to the 1400s, which, by the way, the 1400s were 160 years before today. I mean, we're going way back in history here. Fasting changed at that time, and Christians began to eat one meal earlier in the day, mainly because in the 1400s, most of the work was manual work, and people needed to eat in order to sustain themselves, to do the work that they needed to do. And as I reflected upon that, I really got it. It's one thing to be in a temple and fast. And that's what you did. That's what you could do. You could lay down if you're tired. You could still maintain the fast. It's another thing if you are working, and especially when you look at those times. I mean, we're talking about farmers. Everything was done by hand. We're talking about soldiers. We're talking about merchants, but everything was done by hand. So people literally needed to eat so they wouldn't fall over. Over time, Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent, became the idea of giving something up. That became the centerpiece for Lent. And I remember as a child growing up, and in Sunday school, they were talking about Lent coming, and talking about what we should give up something for Lent. And you take a fifth grader, what can you give up? And of course, I've always loved food, so my first thought was I'd give up bubble gum. And then I thought, no, that's a necessity. That isn't something I can give up. And I thought, well, okay, I could give up dessert.
Don't give
No,
up
that's
bubble
not,
gum.
that's not good. I could give up lima beans. I didn't like them. And we had to take no thank you helpings. But I was looking for something that I could give up. So I decided, I remember one year in particular, I decided I would give up ice cream. Now, ice cream in our house was something very special, and we only had it on Sunday evening. We had ice cream and peanuts, so that meant I could only eat peanuts and I couldn't eat ice cream. And I thought, no, maybe I better give up the peanuts because I can do without peanuts. But here's this little mind trying to figure out, how to do this and all. So just stop and think for yourself for a moment. What is something you would be willing to do without for 40 days? Think about that. Now it's just a little over a month. And they called it a luxury, something extra that you enjoy that you could give up. And I really thought long and hard this year about this, because part of my quote, giving something up, if you will, also comes the realization of I wanted to give up something that is going to make my life richer because I have given it up. That's going to help me more deeply appreciate something. So what I decided for this year is I'm going to give up my debit card. Now you're going to laugh, but it's very easy when I'm in a store to pull out the debit card not thinking. And then when I go and look at my checkbook and I go to rectify my checkbook, it's like, oh, here are all these charges. And I thought, this is going to be good. It'll be a luxury that I have. because it makes, my life easier and I don't have to really think about it. But at the same time, if I don't have the money in my pocket, then I'm not going to spend it. And I thought, it, so I've already started it. I started it last Friday, kind of give it a trial run, see if it's something I really want to do. And I was in the dollar store and I started it, but I didn't check to see how much money I had in my purse. And I got into the dollar store and I mean, it came to like, $3.25 or something, no big amount. And I'm scrounging around trying to find $3.25, which I found. And I thought, oh, this is going to take a little bit of planning on how much money I have extra during the week after, I pay my bills, that I can have in my pocket for other things that might come up. It's going to take a little bit of planning here. And it's also going to make me accountable so that when I balance the checkbook, it isn't like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I was spending that much money. And it was a way, Lent is a time for penitence, which means, simply means being sorry, being repentant. And it is one way to assist myself in becoming a better steward of my money, which the Bible in the New Testament talks about that. So for me, it turned out to be kind of a win-win situation. And the only place that I could find in the Bible about there was taught one line on penitence, and the only well, let me say it this way. In Daniel 9, chapter 9, verse 3, it talks about ashes that are associated with penitence. That was the only place I could find anything that, it didn't say Lent, but it just associated ashes with penitence. And I thought, wow, now this is getting really, kind of curious for me. And at the same time that I was looking that up, I also, in my research, discovered that not all branches of Christianity acknowledge Ash Wednesday. Some of them do, and some of them don't. And it wasn't until the 1970s, and think of the 1970s, some of you weren't even around then. You weren't even a twinkle in your mother's eye. But if you think about the 1970s and where you were and what you were doing, it was at that time the church, for whatever reason, and when I talk about the church, most of the references talk about the Catholic Church being the church, but the Christian churches began to re-embrace stronger the whole idea of Ash Wednesday, and they were looking for a way to connect the physical body with the spiritual life. Now think about that. How do you connect the physical body with the spiritual life, that it would be something that people would enjoy doing, they would want to do? So what they did was, that is when that's when they brought Ash Wednesday back and put more of a focus on it. And not all the churches, it didn't disappear from all of them, but for many of them, they talked about it, but they was just kind of something that was there. I think is the best way to describe it. And so in the process of putting the ashes on the forehead, it they felt that this would offer those that celebrate Ash Wednesday a way to start conversations about their faith. I don't know. I don't know if it did that, but it is very strong in some of our Christian religions. And then I was looking up ashes and how they were used in the church, and very interesting. The ashes that are used on Ash Wednesday are made of palm branches used the previous Palm Sunday. And I thought, oh my goodness, they are, carrying one more step, one more step, one more step to bring it around, to bring it into a sacredness of using the ashes and bringing that to the forefront. So ashes themselves in the Bible represent both penance and mortality. And penance is simply saying you're sorry, being sorry. So so that we now have both of them, penance and mortality. And of course, very much in the Bible, we have the quote, "You are dust, and to dust you will return." So it pulls together two things. It pulls together the physical body, the end of the physical body, and the recognition, I'm going to add, of life everlasting. So in conclusion, my choice to give up my debit card might be a stretch for me, but one of the things I am learning the older I get, it's fun to try new things or look at things in a different way. It helps keep us fresh and new instead of having our mind and our actions be on autopilot. What happens if we get out the other side of the bed instead of getting out the same side of the bed? What would happen that if instead of having bulletproof coffee in the morning, I had something else in the morning, just to change little things to keep life interesting. Because we are here and we have this incredible mind and we want to keep it active. We want to keep it alert and aware, and just changing little things can bring absolutely dramatic results. So I would like to propose to you that you give serious consideration of using these 40 days for something of spiritual growth or something of personal growth. It doesn't even have to be spirit, but something of personal growth. And discover how beneficial that is in many different ways. I have a friend who is committed to daily reading 15 to 20 minutes of spiritual uplifting thoughts every moment. Great idea. She said, I knew I needed to incorporate something, and this will just give me the stimulus to do it. And I also have a second thing that I'm thinking of adding to my personal growth. I there is a 6 week course on the U.S. Constitution. And with all the national talk about the Constitution and everything, I would like to be a little better informed of what's in the Constitution. So I'm still toying with that. I'm going to check it out to see if that's doable. So in closing, this is a great time for personal growth. Whether you call it Lent or just time for personal growth. And if you want to change a habit of something, habits change in 30 days. Here are 40 days. So you get the icing on the cake, if you will, of a little bit longer time. So you can, if there's something for your personal growth that you want to change, that now is a great time to do it. And one of the benefits of doing this is that we can share every week on our social time after the service. We can share what we've discovered, what's going well with it, what isn't going well, and we have a potential group here to support us in whatever change for personal growth that we decide to make. So I want to thank you so much for your presence here today. It is always such a joy to be here. And I want to bow to the magnificence in each one of you. And I bow to the magnificence in me. And I bow to the magnificence in all living things. Thanks.
Thank you, Carol Ann. That was wonderful. And when you were talking about, Ash Wednesday becoming more prevalent in the 70s. So growing up, I was not real involved in the church. In the 70s, and I was in the 70s, I was a teenager. And I started getting involved a little bit. But the big thing was that I remember I also started working, and on Ash Wednesdays, these people would come with these ashes on their forehead. Like, why? What is that? I had no idea. And I mean, I knew it had something to do with Easter, but I didn't understand it at all. But it was just one of those things that, yeah, we did Easter and we talked about the resurrection and but we very rarely talked about Ash Wednesday. And until I got into church a little bit, I had no idea. But it was just something that I really didn't. I had never seen anybody with their little ashes on their forehead, and it was like, and people are like, "Well, it's Ash Wednesday, then." I'm like, yeah. So what does that mean? I wasn't Catholic. I didn't know, and so I had to find out more about it, of course, and I did find out more about it, and then as I got involved more and more in church, and I learned more of the traditional traditions, and I can remember until about 20 years ago, I didn't know what Maundy Thursday was, and I was like, oh, part of the Holy Week, but that's till just before I started going to Summit Spiritual Center. I didn't know what it was. Maundy Thursday, what is that? Oh, that's the day of the Last Supper. Oh, okay. Yeah, so things like that I don't know. So I just think that's very interesting, and yeah, I'm going to try something. Not quite sure yet exactly what it's going to be. I'm not going to go as far as the debit card though. So that would be a huge sacrifice for me. So
You better go to the bank and take out a big stack of cash before you start this, because otherwise how would you get cash out without using your debit card?
Right, right. I mean, I guess you could write a check to get it out, but some people don't even have checks. I know Hannah doesn't, so,
Then you'd have to go into the bank and wait in line at the teller, and you
you're
really
right,
have a lot of meditation time there.
right. And you still probably have to use your debit card to be able to show you part of your, that it's part of your bank stuff. So who knows? But either way. Anyway, so that's all I have. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Is there and hello, Michelle. Any anybody else have anything to say?
Well, maybe we could save our ashes from the first of the year, from our bowl burning, and save them and use them for Ash Wednesday for ourselves.
It burns a little clean though, don't it?
Well, that's true. That's true. have to use not flash paper, I guess.
Yeah.
Carol Ann, thank you. And that I was talking about Lent with my friend on my program on Friday night, and he reminded me of the acronym Lent. Let's eliminate negative thinking, and a wonderful book that put up by Charles Fillmore. It's called Celebrating a True Lent. So I think again, the whole idea of taking, for example, like things of a Christian nature or of a Buddhist nature or of a Hindu nature, and then saying, well, how can I incorporate this into my spirituality? And I think that Lent gives us an opportunity, or the preparation for a resurrection. It gives us an opportunity for that. So I was looking at, as Carol Ann was speaking, I was looking for articles in the Science of Mind archives about, and it really does not say a whole lot about Lent or Easter, but the whole idea of that we take some time to focus on our spirituality, to notice what is right. I think that's a good part. And then to incorporate something to add to. Holmes said, that one of the things that we in spiritual growth is we need to die daily to thoughts that don't serve us anymore. We need to let those go, and to incorporate the truth about us, the capital T about us, which is again divinity. So, but yeah, if you I have a 40-day practice on my magical sheet. If you would like a copy of this 40-day practice, email me. I'll send it to you. All right. Namaste. Thank you.
It's interesting that they put the ash on the same spot that, as the pineal, and that they put the little speck in India. And, it's just, I wonder how that came to be placed there. It's interesting. There's pine cones all around the Vatican, and the pine cone is a symbol of the pineal gland. So there's some connection there.
Yeah.
But
So
go ahead.
One thing
go ahead.
One thing I am discovering is that all my actions, whether they seem to be physical actions or whether they are working on a spiritual principle or whatever, they all go back to allowing yourself to be led by your inner wisdom, with wisdom and knowing. So we can take something that is very mundane and it becomes a spiritual experience. I remember at one point, I have had a friend that had spent some time in an ashram, and he said that, he was a surgeon, and they told him he had to go trim the rose bushes, and it was like, okay, And he very reluctantly went and started to, and they gave him a tiny pair of clippers, handheld, with only very short blade on them, and he looked at that, and it was like, okay, this is what my job is. And as he went into looking at the rose bush, connecting with the rose bush and beginning to trim, he said, it was incredible. I knew exactly where to trim, what to trim, and it turned out so incredible. And he said, I got my life out of trimming the roses. So when I heard about that, I thought, I've always used my, nice electrical hedge trimmer, and you go up one side and down the other, and you can be done, and everything. I said, okay, I'm going to try this. It was about 4 years ago, and at that time I had many bushes to trim there. I had about 8 different wood-sized bushes, and I decided to start with the smallest one. But it was incredible when I became one with the bush and knew exactly where to trim, how far to trim. And the result of that was that I didn't have to turn around. The physical result of that was I didn't have to turn around in 3 and 4 months and trim again. I could wait 6 months before I had to do a trimming. And the energy, the insight, the peace of mind, I mean, all the valuable things, I could not wait to trim the next bush and the next bush and the next bush. And I'm sure at some point I was levitating and all the neighbors were wondering what was going on. I just felt that whole and complete. But it was such a great reminder to me that every action I take, and including, as my one teacher said, even your shit is sacred. Everything is a sacred moment. So I think that's a very important point, that try it. It is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the British royalty have respected that thought for many centuries. They have
Yes.
what they call the groom of the stool, that takes the royal feces and puts them in, categorizes them, labels them, and puts them in storage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My storage is a community service in a plant someplace.
Okay, well, thank you. And John, you want to do a song for us?
All righty. Yeah, I think I should give up paying bills for Lent, especially taxes, right?
Okay.
I encourage that. Everybody give up taxes.
Yeah, I just sent my property tax.
Yeah. Well, this is a love song. Think of somebody maybe being in the service and away from the family, or separation, divorce, maybe. When the sun goes down on the hill, I think of you. Your beautiful smiles and the things you do. I want to be there to hold you and show you how much I care. I want to whisper I love you. I want to be there. Our time together, it slips away so fast. I wish there were a way to make it last. I wanna be there to hold you and show you how much I care. I wanna whisper I love you. I wanna be there. I wanna tell you how much you are missed. I wish that I could send a kiss. When the sun goes down on the hill, I think of you. Your beautiful smiles and things you do. I wanna be there to hold you and show you how much I care. I wanna whisper I love you. I miss you. I wanna be there.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it is that time in our service where we take a moment to give. And if you would like to give, you can go to Zelle. You can do it online by going to Zelle, and you would go to sscofakron@gmail.com, or you can send a check to, with the word Summit on it, to 1199 Lexington Avenue, Akron, Ohio 44310. So with that, I just want to bless the giver and the gifts, and know that each and every one is blessed in a very special way, that it goes back to the work of Summit Spiritual Center, but it also goes back to the person who gives 10 times more or more in a loving way. With that, I give thanks one more time. So it is. Amen. How about some more good and more good, John?
Good and more good is mine, and ever increasing good is mine. Unlimited infinite good is mine. Wherever I go, I see good. Whatever I do, I feel oh so good. I'm worthy and entitled to good and more good. Good crowds itself upon us, wraps itself around us. We give ourselves permission to accept more good, express more good. Oh, good, more good is ours, and ever increasing good is ours. Thank you, Spirit and Soul.
All right. Thank you, John. And are there announcements? We need to make them short and brief. Why don't you go first, John? And then Michael.
Yeswise.com. Look for Yeswise Inspiri, or Inspiri, as you may choose to pronounce it, since it's a word I created.
All right. Thank you. Michael?
ntmedia.org. That's ntmedia.org, or go on. All of my programs are on the Summit's Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page, and or on the Summit, or on the New Thought Media Network YouTube page. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we're going to do a moment of silence. And I want you to take it, I'll ring us in and I'll ring us out. I want you to take in mind that somebody who may need some healing, whether it's yourself, family member, or friend, maybe somebody who needs employment, or just a situation in the world that needs a lot of work. And just know that He's got it taken care of. We just have to recognize that. So, then again, I bring us up. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Joy is real. Joy is true. We are joy, living as me and you. Peace is real. Peace is true. We are peace, living as me and you. Love is real. Love is true. We are love, living as me and you. Awareness is real. Awareness is true. We are awareness, living as me and you. Living as me and you.
Thank you, John Miller. And that does conclude our service. But I just want to invite everybody to be here next week for John will be our speaker, our featured speaker. The following week will be Michael. So anyways, Hannah, you may end our Facebook feed.